Okay, let's just test this out for a minute. I really can't tell if this is going through or not. Okay, sweet. All right, looks like we are good. Let me just share this real quick and we'll get started. Hey Potato, what's up? Just gonna mute that and let me turn on Spotify. I don't actually know what all you guys are gonna hear, if you're gonna hear my Spotify or not, so y'all let me know if this actually is playing. We're gonna hope that it is, especially because this is a good song. So we are a couple minutes early, 1 minute now. So I'm going to kind of go over what the plan is today for the stuff that I'm going over. We're going to talk about expressions and body language today. Expressions and body language. And so what that means is we're going to be talking about emotions, personality, and different ways that we're going to show that with characters. With that said, I'm going to see if I can't Sorry, I'm still getting used to this new setup, so y'all be patient with me. Alright, now we're in the control room. Yay! This is where I like to be. Okay. Like I said, expressions and body, emotions and personality. And that's going to be what we talk about today. Let's go ahead and get started. So expressions are really easy once you get behind the idea of playing around with the face and understanding how the face kind of works. You know, I'm sure we've all seen like those Tumblr and you know, just internet in general. Let's see. Where am I looking? Nope. I really have no idea what I'm looking for. Anyway, We've all seen those Tumblr challenges, and I've done them several times before. Hi, Bumblebee! I've done those challenges several times before, you know, where it's a little grid and it has all these different faces on it. And, you know, send me a character and a face and I'll draw them. And that 100% is a valid way to practice your expressions and play around with those a bit. But you're not going to be able to do that if you don't really understand how those expressions work. Hold on. Why is that all the way over there? I don't know why that was like that, guys. I'm sorry. I did not realize that y'all weren't able to see that whole thing. So stupid. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, expressions are the easiest way to show emotion on a character, and they can kind of be broken up into... I break them up into 3 little pieces. The first one's the eyes. The second one is the mouth. And the third is kind of just the position of the head, which kind of ties into body language. Which is why a lot of those expression sheets, they might have the expression looking up or down, but they don't really do a whole lot beyond that most of the time. Because, you know, that's up to you. That's your call on what the body language is going to do. And body language can really accentuate an expression. Hi, Cyber Searcher. Oh, shit, I should put this on Discord. That's what I should put this on. Okay. 1 second, guys. Alright. Okay. So, on to the main thing with expression. And the easiest way for us to do this is going to be to go over a couple of different emotions. There are a billion different emotions under the sun. Everyone's going to experience emotion differently, and everyone's going to have kind of a different view of emotion. So we're just going to split this up into some key ones. So we're going to have happy, sad, angry, scared, and surprised. Okay, these are going to be our main 5. They're the main 5 that I work with, and you can usually combine them to get different ones or even delve into each one. Yeah, I think we've all seen like the emotion chart that's like this and has a whole bunch of different emotions tied to each little thing, and just kind of shows that emotion tree. I could sit here all day talking about emotions and how different emotions look, but half of a person's or half of the character's emotion also has to do with who that character is as a person. You know, some people, whenever they look angry, they go stone face and they don't show it very well. They just look completely neutral. Some people show it viscerally, and you can completely see it in every fiber of them, how pissed off they are. So it really just depends on the character that you're drawing at that time. So without further ado, we're going to talk about the happy emotion. And we're going to use J for happy, because it's easy. So with a happy emotion, typically this is where you're going to see your smiles and such. So like I said, emotions and expressions can typically tie down into the eyes, the mouth, and just the overall direction of the head. Happiness is a positive emotion. Happiness kind of lifts you up. Happiness is a good feeling to feel. And not just good as in healthy. It feels nice to be happy. It is whenever we are, feeling positive and whenever things are looking good to us at that moment. We like that moment, and that's what makes us happy. So that tends to be more of a looking up or looking straight ahead type of emotion for me. So one of the first things that I like to do with all of my faces, if you guys have seen the stream before, I start with the eyes. For happy eyes, if you're smiling, that's going to push the cheeks up. So a lot of times there's going to be a little bit of a flat line here, and that's the cheek coming up on a character. Because, we've all seen the little smiley face like this. Well, that's because the mouth is going to push those cheek muscles up against the eyes. Now, I kind of lump the eyebrows in with the eyes. To me, they go hand in hand. And so happy eyebrows tend to be just relaxed. They go in a smooth arch over the face, or over the eyes. And depending on the character, especially with Jay and Lloyd, what I'll sometimes do is I'll scrunch the nose up a little bit, depending on who's smiling. And that's just personal preference, and again, goes with your character. Is your character somebody that scrunches up their nose whenever they're feeling happy or mischievous? That's a character trait. Whole stop. That's a character trait of characters. That just is a part of who they are. And it's little things. And yes, you can totally go full fan fiction on this and have this be something that other characters notice. Okay, that's why we have this in here. So the next part tends to be the mouth, which I really like drawing lopsided smiles. I just do. I think they're adorable. So the biggest thing is, you'll see that Jay's smile really is just a straight line here, and then it curves up kind of at the corners here. And again, personal preference. We're going kind of for that, little emoticon smiley. But legit, you can use emoticons as guidelines for how you're going to draw your smiles. So again, mouth is a really basic shape. It's a big happy smile. And again, emotions are such a sliding scale. Whenever you're younger, you definitely do think of sad and happy as opposite ends. No, they really aren't opposite ends. They are components. A bittersweet feeling is literally describing a feeling wherein you are both feeling a portion happy and a portion sad. Happy and sad are not points on a line. They are portions of what we use to describe how we're feeling. But you can measure things on an intensity scale with just straight up apathy / boredom on one end and full on emotional breakout at the other. I typically tend to exaggerate emotions. So while most people in day-to-day life are going to be about right here with emotions, I push that over here for characters. So if they're happy, they are just super thrilled right now. If they are sad, they are feeling it, crying, tears, the whole shebang, so that whenever they are bored, you can also over exaggerate that. Have characters flopping themselves all over the couch, and over exaggerating themselves. Half of character expression is just over exaggerating what you already know. You know what you look like whenever you're happy or sad or angry. And if you don't, that's fine. Get a mirror. Make faces at yourself. You will learn so much making faces of yourself. How do you think I know how to draw cheeks like this on Jay? It's because I have round little cheeks and they push up whenever I smile, and I think that's great. I have no idea what you're talking about, Cyber Searcher. I've only drawn tears a couple of times. One of the things that I think we all really appreciate, but don't necessarily think about as artists, is what the iris and pupil can do for an expression. You know, for happy, it's kind of a cat rule. You know, for happy, you know, we're relaxed. So we're going to have just a regular eye shine in the corner. Not that one because we're looking at that from an angle. We're going to have a regular eye shine in the corner. The pupil's going to be a normal size. And here's a fun thing that you can do, and this is kind of getting into that body language. Make the hair mimic the expression. I'm not talking full-on Studio Ghibli because, you know, we can't all be that amazing. But, you know what? Your artwork is your artwork. So if you want to go full Ghibli hair, do it. Do it. Reflect your character's emotions in that hair. Let them do the thing. 100%. Do any of them have dimples? I think I drew Nia with dimples like last week as kind of a throwaway sketch. I could definitely see Cole with dimples, or maybe Jay. If only because, you know, if your dad's a movie star, he's probably got some really adorable quirks in his face. And all a dimple is just a little dip in the skin where, because of the way the muscles and tendons and everything interact, there's just a little dip there whenever they contract in a specific way. So, you know, if we want to give Jay a little dimple, we're just going to do that right there. And boom, we've got a really happy Jay. And he's not like, you know, losing his mind happy. He's just happy. And, you know, like I said, we can have a range of things. If this is our happy spectrum, and we've got, you know, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just... Okay, so if this is our happy spectrum, we can very easily have just pure apathy down here, and just hog wild happy over here. And then you're just going to have various things along this little line. Also, I'm sorry if you guys hear my dog howling. He probably made a mess inside and got kicked out. But he's perfectly fine. He's just a crybaby. What you can see as the smile gets wider and wider, until we get to just straight up hog wild happiness. That just, it's an intensifier. And this kind of like I said, biggest thing is going to be your eyes and your mouth. Head tilt does kind of get into that body language portion of things. So we have looked at happy. Let's go ahead and take a look at sad. Who do we want to draw sad? Well, who's my favorite character to draw sad? Trick question. It's all of them. We're going to draw Cole because he has sad eyes, in my opinion. One more time. Sorry, guys. I always get distracted, which is good for my hand because it reminds me to put on my brace before it starts hurting. It does kind of suck whenever we're trying to do art class and the person doing the art class keeps getting distracted. Okay. Listen, it's very easy to draw Cole sad because he has sad eyes. Poor Cole, I don't hurt him that much. That's Kat's job. So again, we're going to start in on the eyes. And the thing with sad is, sad weighs you down. If happiness lifts you up, sadness weighs you down. And so the whole body can kind of look weighted, but especially the face. So, you know, the eyelids are going to be downcast. And the brows furrow a little bit with sadness. They don't furrow down like with anger. They furrow and then kind of point up. Get another good reason to use Cole because it's got dim brows. That's too much. And if happiness kind of makes the mouth bigger, sadness really does kind of make it smaller. You know, if you combine sadness with a little bit of anger, you can get a bit of a pout going on. And another thing that you can do with sadness is just kind of have the eyes not really looking at what it is that we're focusing on. So looking down and away is kind of a thing with sadness. Along with apparently making ears that are just absolutely huge. That kind of falls into just character exaggeration, you know? Characters aren't bound by the same laws that we mere mortals are. But I just like giving Cole big eyebrows. That's what he deserves. I shouldn't have filled that in. I should have talked about the people thing like I did with Jay. So sadness, we don't quite get into the small pupils yet. They're still pretty big, but you might dial down the eye shine or completely take it away because everything is sadder, everything is darker, everything is heavier. with that sad emotion. So with sadness, again, everything is kind of weighted down. If happiness lifts you up, sadness weighs you down tremendously. So the head might be looking down. The eyes are cast down. The mouth, the corners of the mouth are turned down. And again, look at your emoticons, you know? If we look at that little face of an emoticon, you can kind of see where the eyebrows furrow in and then up. And then both of the corners of the mouth are turned down. That's the biggest indicator with sadness, and that's going to be how you get that sad expression. Right? So we have done happy, we've done sad. Let's take a look at angry. It's going to be so much fun. And for that, we are going to look at Kai, because I love drawing Kai angry. It's so much fun to draw angry. So anger is far more volatile than happiness or sadness tends to be. Anger is, at its biggest, it's not really explosive, because not all characters will be explosive in their rage. Some characters, it will build and build and build. It's kind of like the frog in boiling water that rage has just been slowly building over time. I think Zane's a character that would let that kind of build over time. Kai's an explosive, angry person. Whenever he does get pissed off, it is explosive anger. So anger is one of the biggest things that can differ between characters. And that's what makes anger, in my opinion, so much fun to draw. You can have a character that all they really do is furrow the brows downward and have an upset mouth. And the biggest thing with angry eyebrows versus sad eyebrows kind of do this number where they're flat and they come up. Angry eyebrows go starkly down. And they might come up a little bit, but that's usually just what happens because the skin is getting bunched up there, so it's more of a little wrinkle. And it really does, again, it varies with characters, how intensely they show this. Kai is just someone who wears that anger on his sleeve. I could probably check and see if this is coming through. Yeah, I am not seeing any of it. It's whatever. It's whatever. So one of the things is anger, whenever you're at its height, it doesn't include the scrunchy eyes. That's more low to mid-range anger. Straight up anger can have the big eyes with the itty bitty little irises. And this is another one of those places where, because he's angry, that's going to twist the whole face. Anger is really something that can involve the entire face. All these emotions can be dialed up to a 10 and involve the entire face. Anger just seems to have the most stark effect in my mind. And this is also where we're going to start getting some stranger looking mouth shapes, so yeah, strap in. So whenever you're drawing a happy character and you want the mouth to be open really wide because they're yelling or they're really excited so they're shouting, it's pretty easy. That lends itself really easily to what we see as our face shape. You know, flat up top, bring these two, bring in the curved line to get the bottom, draw in a little tongue line, call it a day. With negative emotions, we're not smiling anymore. It's not as simple as, yay. And it just does not work to do this because that's not how our jaws work. Again, exceptions to the rule, there are certain art styles in which this works. I don't feel like it works in mine. So what we tend to have is more of a this shape, where you can see how the corners are turning down, but the top is still mostly flat. The tricky part with that is you do kind of have to learn, like, I do give Kai and Cole and other characters lips. And that's a little bit of trial and error going in and learning how those lips are going to work with the expression that we're trying to get across. Another thing that can kind of add an element to expressions is an element of movement, which clearly I like doing with Kai's hair. If you can make it to where, rapidly turning around, that definitely is going to expand upon that anger. A lot of times with volatile characters, if they get angry, that's going to translate into very quick, fast movement, and that's just going to show off the anger more. Now again, different characters are going to show emotions in different ways. You might have a character who will show anger not necessarily through fast aggression, like Kai. You might have a character who shows anger through slow, methodical, intentional things. And that is, the big scary anger whenever they take their time. That I reserve more for villains or for characters who have been pushed too far. And kind of go from this clique of pacifist to, well, okay, now you've pissed me off type of thing. So we took a look at happy, sad, and angry. Kai's hair in a commercial would be hilarious. So now let's look at scared. So scared is a little different. Happiness lifts you up, sadness pulls you down, anger kind of makes you a little bit erratic. It varies a lot from character to character as to whether it speeds up or slows down their movement. Scared is freezing. Scared keeps you in one spot. It either keeps you in one spot or it absolutely forces you to go, 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 go. So it's just completely unpredictable, and it's not very easily handled by the character themselves. So the idea is to translate that panic into something visual. So what scared normally translates to is big, big, wide eyes with little irises and pupils for me. It has an element of those sad eyebrows from earlier. And what I and a lot of people like to do is these little lines down here that kind of just accentuate the oh shit feeling because it really draws into how scared a person is, how wide those eyes are opening, and how much the facial expression just kind of drops. And like I said, being scared kind of falls into two categories: freezing and fleeing, you know, flight or fight. With freezing, you tend to have the smaller mouths. With fleeing, you tend to have the bigger, terrified, we need to leave now, screaming mouths. Yeah, the biggest thing that is going to get scared across where it could be confused with sadness or confused with anger. Scared brings in those upturned eyebrows from sadness and those wide, wide eyes from anger. And just teeny tiny little mouth. Until we cross the point into straight up panic mode, which brings in that sense of urgency. Alright, so our last one is going to be surprise, which is definitely a happier emotion. Let's go ahead and down here, check off scared. So let's take a look at surprise. So just pure unadulterated surprise that doesn't come with that scared element. Usually just means upturned brows, wide eyes, and not much of a, well, there's a mouth reaction. Yeah, and it varies from character to character. So smaller eyes than happiness, but definitely not as teeny pinpricks as sad or as surprised or scared or angry, but still a little small because we've been surprised, which is kind of a jump scare type situation. So we know we're not scared, but we're still going to jump a little bit. Flight mode when scared? Jay, 100%. He's a flyer. So the biggest thing with surprise is going to be those eyebrows that just kind of shoot up. And the difference between this and happiness is happiness, they're relaxed. And with surprise, they definitely are more exaggerated, higher, because they're moving upwards with that emotion. So again, kind of just that. This is your basic surprise emotion. Let's go back and go back over these. So happy, this is going to be pretty simple. Remember to push kind of in towards the eyes from the cheeks with the way that the mouth curves up. Sad is going to kind of push the whole face down. From the sides. Angry is going to kind of push the face inward. Scared is just going to be looking for some way to leave, and completely wide open, eyes open, looking for a place to go, looking for the next way out. And surprise isn't necessarily bad, it's just halfway point to scared, so we're going to be a little caught off guard. Oh yeah, I'm planning on trying to make stickers this week, so we're going to see how well that goes. I got me some transparent paper that should be a lot better for stickers. But with that said, we are going to go into the next part of this, which is body language and working with the emotions and everything to translate that into body language and how characters are going to use that. So we're going to make a new thing because I've already put several layers on here. And we're going to talk about body language. So body language is kind of a next step for drawing, which actually kind of fits in with where we were last time. You know, last time we were talking about posing. And before you can get into posing, you kind of have to learn about anatomy. But between anatomy and posing, that's where we're going to go into body language. Oh, yeah, and by the way, I do have a couple of challenges that are that I like to do. I may even start doing them again after this stream. If you guys want those challenges, you can probably search emoji challenge on Tumblr, or you can just straight up message me and ask, hey, do you have any emotion challenges that you would mind sharing? And I 100% will at least help you find the blog that they originated from and try to help you find good challenges for stretching yourself with artwork, because that's always important. It's to keep pushing yourself with art and give yourself some room to grow. So yeah, body language. This is how people wordlessly communicate, consciously, subconsciously. It's a little bit of both. There's some things that we kind of universally say, oh, this means this means that, and that's stuff like a smile or an angry frown. We kind of know those typically, despite cultural or language barriers. There's other things that tie in, there are a myriad of hand gestures that might be perfectly fine in one location and horrifically offensive in another location. And that kind of goes hand in hand with that. What I'm talking about whenever I mean body language is more along the lines of how a person holds himself, how they are standing, how they're sitting, what are they doing with their arms, that type of thing, and how that kind of translates into how that character is presenting as a whole. So, I'm going to talk about body language. And kind of in the same order as last time, we're going to talk about it in terms of the 5 main emotions. so that we get kind of an idea of what it is that I mean with these. I'm gonna have so much reading to do. Why do people wait until I'm live streaming to post fanfic? The struggles of both an artist and a consumer of art. Okay, so let's get into the happy emotion. I don't know why I did that. I was feeling frisky. There we go. Okay, happy. So, with happy, what we are going to do is we're going to first resize that because I made that entirely too... What the frick? I have no idea what I fucking pushed to make it do that, but okay. Okay, so like I said, with happy, that tends to be an overall uplifting feeling. So one of the biggest happy poses for characters is kind of just this jump in the air. And I'm just going to be drawing stick figure mannequins today for this, because we've got a lot to kind of cover. So just very happy characters. But this is, again, this is an exaggeration. This is following, a line of action, and it's very dynamic, and it's very cool to look at, and is definitely not a pose that your character's going to take if they're, like, super thrilled that they're getting, maybe if they're super thrilled about something, they will take this pose. But it's not going to be the kind of pose that a character adopts because, oh, hey, that's cool. That's definitely on the higher end of the spectrum. Oh, yeah, no, I leave these up. Unless I get, like, copyright claimed or something and YouTube gets mad at me, these stay up. Hopefully, because my Spotify is in my ears, we're gonna be Gucci. Let's, what was I saying? So you've got a character that's happy. They're going to be sitting up straighter. They're going to be, maybe they're relaxed. It all depends on just the mix of emotions that they're having right now. But you might have a character who's, so you got a character who's kind of a little love struck. So they're sitting there staring at the object of their affections. Maybe they're leaning on their hand. And here's how I draw those kinds of poses, okay? So you'll notice that I put in their shoulder, and I put in their hand up here on their cheek. Then, we're going to do, so we're going to put it to where the forearm looks natural, okay? Then you can come in and you can add in the foreshortening on the upper arm. And again down here, it's out in front. So we're going to draw our little hand, draw the forearm, and now we got somebody who's sitting here a little love struck over something. I can't do it. See, happy, love struck, that type of thing. So happy, very relaxed. If they're still, there's not a heavy leaning. There's more of just this contentment around it. And if they're gonna be excited, it's big, it's happy, it's all over the place, jumping. Feel free to look back at the stream later. Like I said, we were just getting started on body language and all of that, but it will stay up. Oh, definitely cola cake. Are you kidding me? Yeah, so happy can be anywhere from jumping for joy like this or sitting idly like that. And it depends on not just the emotion, but also the energy level. We've all seen or felt, after a big sports game or just a big event, just kind of collapsing onto the couch and just feeling on top of the world, but you can't fucking move. It's a big mood. It's a big mood. I've felt that so many times. So let's go into our next emotion, which is sad. And again, sadness kind of weighs you down. It's not fun to feel. It is an important emotion that we unfortunately do need to feel. It's a part of the human experience. One that I fight on a day-to-day basis. Sorry, that got a little edgy there. So sadness. Like the sadness I feel whenever I have to look at my email. You don't know me, James Avery. You don't know who I am. You don't know what I've been through. Okay. So, sadness. Sadness is going to be a bit different because it can weigh you down. Characters dramatically draping themselves over everything may not necessarily be only feeling sadness. They may also be feeling a want for attention. But we'll go over both. Say we've got a character that does. Let's draw a little couch right here. It's a very, very basic couch. It's a very scientific process called drawing shapes. Okay, so we've got our little couch. We're going to color this like a lightish orange, so I don't have to differentiate between my colors. There should be enough contrast between the two that you'll still be able to tell. Rings? Did I say something about rings? I babble a lot. Potato, can you clarify what you mean by rings? And in the meantime, we're going to draw a very dramatic person who is just absolutely beside themselves. Maybe you're John Shakespeare thing. So one of the biggest things with drawing characters in poses and getting that emotion is exaggeration. Right now we've got both of the arms here. They're coming up to the chest. And we're not really paying too much attention to proper, oh, there's a muscle here and there's a bone there. No, we are purely feeling the feelings right now, okay? Because we are artists who have studied anatomy and we are working to improve our anatomy, but that's not the focus right now, is it? we're focusing on emotions and body language. So that's what we're focusing on. Oh, rings. Yes, James Avery is a jewelry company that I really enjoy. I have a charm bracelet, and so they send me stuff on their from their newsletter or whatever. So you can kind of see how that kind of dramatically drapes them across the couch, and also conveniently for this character would have them taking up a huge amount of room here. You know, this is a two-seater couch. They could very easily be taking up space right here and having their little freak out. But no, they need the whole damn couch to have their freak out. And that's another thing that you can bring in to talking about body language. And I might be able to bring Mel into this. Question, have you guys been hearing my music at all on this thing? Damn, no music. Hey Mel, need just a minute to let's pause Spotify. Let's see if I can't play with the settings here. Mel, are you coming through? Okay, there you are. Yeah, I can hear you through my headphones. I'm trying to set it up to where everybody can hear you, but let me see. Source. Alright, how about now? I'm going to try playing Spotify. Are y'all able to hear this? It's not showing up. So it's audio output capture. Take that off. Still nothing. Okay. Yeah, I would like to use that. You're good. I think I just need to disconnect my headphones and deal with it. Give me just 1 second. Alright, let's try this now. Can you try talking?
Hello?
There you are. Hello.
Here I am.
Alright, are you guys hearing Mel come through? God, I hope so.
As I do too.
I mean, it's showing up on the Streamlabs thing, so we're just gonna call that a yes and hope that I'm right. Talking about...
It's always a good news.
emotions and body language and all that fun stuff right now. So we're drawing sad emotions.
Ooh.
So I'm going to jump right back into it. Oh good, they can't hear you.
Wait, you're drawing sad emotions of a guy on a couch?
Well, just talking about how like some characters are going to be over dramatic about varying levels of sadness, and how just like with this character on the couch, he could be taking up one seat. But no, motherfucker's got to be spread out across the whole damn couch because he needs attention.
Ah. So, Jay.
Yes, essentially. Jay at a minor inconvenience. But real talk though, sadness can cause some characters to kind of just bunch up into a little ball of sadness. That's a common thing.
Ah, yes.
People must be getting home, which is why the alarm keeps going off. Really wish we had figured out how to turn that off.
But it would be a Rena stream without random fire alarms going off.
That's the thing, if it were a fire alarm, I would be mildly concerned. Nope, it's literally the fucking house being like, a door was opened! Yeah, I know.
Security alarm.
Hold on,
My
guys.
mistake.
Hold on. Hello? Hello? I love whenever that happens. I want you guys to know that if ever, for whatever reason, there is need to contact me for some reason, I do respond to text messages. I try to make it a point to do so. Just putting that out there. Yeah.
You are very good at doing that.
I try. I really do. I like being connected. And text is so nice. With the added bonus of not needing me to physically talk about our conversation whilst on the internet for God knows who to see. Anyway, these are more along the lines of sadness. It can vary. And a lot of times what ends up happening is the bigger the sad, the less the dramatics. If you're still having dramatics, that typically comes from A, character overacting, or B, there's another emotion in there and it's not purely sadness. Going into the next one. What was the next one? Shit, I think it was anger. So, anger is a really big emotion. I said some characters it can be explosive, some characters it might bubble over, so to speak.
Yes, explosive.
But anger also tends to be kind of a defensive emotion. So you have characters that kind of puff up and get themselves bigger. Or characters that kind of buckle down like, I'm ready to fight you. And it just, again, these things can kind of be taken into account for any character, but first and foremost, you need to take into account who that character is and why are they angry. My mind is blanking so much today.
It's one of those Mondays.
It really is. I'm kind of hoping I'm going to be feeling better tomorrow. Oh, it's definitely a Kai pose. I think I've drawn him in this exact pose before. But yeah, anger. Anger typically does not shrink down. If scared is about making yourself smaller, anger is about making yourself bigger. Over exaggerated arms and square legs and all of those good things is going to be where anger goes. And scared does tend to be more along the lines of, that's a hilarious image. Scared does kind of tend to be along the lines of, let me get my hand in front of me, let me try to be crouched so that I can run away type of emotion. And you'll notice as we kind of get through these poses, I'm drawing more and more loose. And that's because when it comes to body language and for rough sketching like that, you do want to use shorthand. You do want to use the basic little thumbnail sketches that you keep seeing people do, because those help. It really does help. You learn anatomy first. You learn how, you learn anatomy and physiology kind of in tandem to learn how things bend and move. And then you jump into body language and posing. That's the order of things. So that way just you understand how the body does all of these things. And so you're not drawing, body horror stuff by accident, because that's not fun.
No, it doesn't sound fun.
No, really not, and you scare people. It's fucked up.
Okay, Rita.
What's up?
So I'm actually playing that video game as I chat with you.
I thought you said you'd beaten it.
No.
She cut out. Okay. While we wait for Mel to come back online, next part is going to be talking about surprise. Which the key thing with surprise is just it kind of is like scared, just without that panicky feeling to it. So, if a character gets surprised, they might do this number. And just an over-exaggerated reaction. Say a character found, like, a bug or something. This is kind of getting more into posing. We'll do kind of just a quick rundown now about, oh, what happened? Hold on. Okay. Looks like Mel kind of had to dip out for a minute. That's okay. It's fine. We're good. We're Gucci. She'll be back here in a second. So I'm going to kind of open up the floor to you guys, because I feel like I've gone over the emotions pretty intensely over the past couple minutes. So what kind of body language things are you guys, or do you guys have questions about? Is there specific posing that kind of trips you guys up? Is there an idea about posing that kind of just gets you completely confused about stuff? I do have a Tumblr ask about drawing relaxed poses, which I will draw here in a minute, but I do want to hear from you guys first. Does she have to duck out again? What do you mean by that, Potato? Like, what part about it trips you up? So, I try to stay away from having this dichotomy in my mind of this is masculine facial features, these are feminine facial features, simply because I kind of feel like it creates this barrier in your it creates this barrier within your skill set, in my personal opinion. Now, I clearly draw different bodies for different characters? Yes. I know I don't showcase this very much, probably because I only draw like the OG ninja plus 5 other people. But I really do recommend not trying to draw a dichotomy in your mind of I draw male facial features, I draw female facial features. Because the truth of the matter is we can mix and match facial features all over the place. There are different things that make characters. Now, if you're having trouble, like, a good way to do this would be to draw, let's go over Kai and Mia. They're similar enough as siblings that I kind of feel comfortable showing you guys what the differences are. So let's do Kai first. And really what I'm doing this for is to show you guys not necessarily the difference between male and female. This is more to show you the similarities there. Now I will say I do tend to draw Kai with more of just this default aggressive expression. Just because that I feel is a part of his character. Whatever he does, he's doing it aggressively. Whether that's fighting, whether that's taking care of his siblings, whatever that is, Kai does it aggressively. So that can be a way to differentiate characters too, is, what part of their personality can I tie into their facial features all the time? Fucking porcupine head looking. So there we have a Kai. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to draw a Nia. And I do recommend giving your characters, even siblings, some differences. I do make Nia's eyes just the slightest bit more rounded off than Kai's, but I also give her thicker eyebrows. Simply because she has dark hair, that's going to look thicker, and typically it's going to be thicker. Nia's personality also tends to be very sure of herself, and so I do try and mimic that in her looks as well. And the biggest difference between the two is hair. Mia's hair is curly and dark, and there's a lot more of it than what Kai has. But you can see, like, at their core, whenever it comes to stuff like the eyes, like the mouth, there's actually not a lot of difference between male and female features. If you can draw a quote-unquote masculine mouth, you can draw a feminine mouth. There's not really much of a difference between them. Now, what a lot of people conflate as feminine, whenever it's really more of an ethnicity issue, does tend to be eyes and mouths. You know, like I draw Kai, Mia, and Lloyd all with the same basic eye shape, trying to get more of that monolid look to them. And then Cole has very heavy set eyelids with very dark, heavy eyelashes. And then Jay tends to have big, open, almost squared off eyes. Whereas Zane's are far more rectangular. You know, and those can all be ways to differentiate characters by drawing different types of eyes. Some people wanted to draw like full lips, like say lips with makeup on them. So let's go ahead and let's do that real quick. So if you're drawing realistically, one way that I've seen lips be done is this little circle method. Where you kind of just work around the circles there, and boom! Now you have lips. And that's definitely a valid method that some people use that works with their art style. I don't feel like it works very well with my art style, simply because I don't feel like I draw lips in this way all the time. I am here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how I do that full makeup lip thing. And to do that, we're going to come up here to Mia. So what I do is actually, you know, what every girl does whenever she puts on makeup, or what every guy does whenever he puts on makeup. Start with a bare face. And then what I tend to do is I outline. That might be Mel. Hey, are you coming through now? It says your voice is connected, but it's really bad.
Oh god, is that bad?
No, I was going off of the Discord little bar thing. You're coming through clear.
Oh yay!
So like I was saying, yay! So like I was saying
I lost all of my progress.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, not. It's this game. It doesn't require internet. It's just I got a really bad game over.
Oh, that sucks.
Yup.
So like I was saying with drawing lips that have makeup on them, because that is something that does happen. You're going to draw out what part of the lip, or you're going to actually draw out the lips, because I tend not to whenever it comes to just bare-faced characters. And then go in and whenever you color where the lips are. So that way, you get a pretty face with lipstick or lip gloss or whatever it is you're doing. But there's not really a difference between male and female lips. I mean, you can come over here and you can do the same thing to Kai, and he can have, you know, have his own brand of red lipstick. It's really, there's not as big of a difference as I think some approaches will tell you. It's really, it's not about drawing male or female lips, it's drawing different kinds of lips. We're having all sorts of fun conversations.
Yeah. Like how you draw your not Kim Possible lips.
Totally not Kim Possible lips. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. What am I talking about?
The other thing that some people do think of as a feminine trait is kind of eyelashes, which again, those are going to vary by character. So sorry to disappoint. Again, Nia with her monolid, she might have eyeliner, you know, that comes off the eye like this, and that might be what some people put as like, you know, eyelashes. You know, what cartoons do that? You know, cartoons don't do that.
Cartoons do special eyelashes?
Well, just most of the time, like you see it especially on Sonic characters, eyelashes is usually shortcut for girl.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, some people would do a little, you know, that's a girl eye and that's a boy eye. Don't do that. I mean, you can do that if that's your style. I'm not trying to be mean about that. But just don't let that be the only defining traits, I want to say. You know, have fun with your characters. Do fun things with them. But, you know, you can put eyeliner on whoever you want. You can put lipstick on whoever you want. And the eyes and the mouth, if you can draw eyes by themselves, and you can get together a collection of different types of eyes, that will serve you so much better than thinking to yourself, well, this is my male collection of eyes, and this is my female collection of eyes. You're going to have a lot easier time drawing facial expressions on all characters and of all genders and no genders if you have an understanding of that's more along the lines of, well, this is a monolith eye, and this is a quote-unquote almond-shaped eye, this is a heavy-set eye, this is a sunken eye. Look more for physical definable features than I want to draw an eye for a face that's running on estrogen.exe.
No, it's just you say talking about the whole girls have eyelashes thing reminded me of this CG cartoon called Reboot.
Oh?
And like I noticed it in the 3rd season when they got a bigger budget that the girls got eyelashes, but the guys still didn't have.
Yeah, eyelashes do tend to be in cartoons shorthand for this is a girl character. It's not in all cartoons, you know. Some anime, everyone has fantastic eyelashes. Art will tell you so much about an artist, okay? If you see somebody who is able to draw stupid, detailed anime eyes, I guarantee you they watched either Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Black Butler as a teen. It is true, okay? And if all of their eyes are real pretty ovals with white pupils instead of black pupils, they watched Pokemon. They were a Pokemon kid. Possibly Digimon, but more likely to be Pokemon.
I mean, I don't think I can argue. Can I?
No. Art is the biggest snitch on the face of the planet, okay? You look at my art, and you can tell just from how I draw Kai's hair. This bitch did watch Black Blood Brothers whenever she shouldn't have. I'd recognize that fancy ass hair anyway. Art is the biggest snitch known to mankind because somebody who is well versed in a lot of different art products will be able to look at your art and go, oh, well, you were really into Soul Eater as a kid, or, you were a Homestuck.
Definitely. Whether or not you watch Soul Eater is definitely defining.
Yeah.
Because, like, that one has, like, such a unique art style. Like,
it
even
does.
for anime.
And you want to know how you can tell somebody based their drawing off of Soul Eater? The legs and the nose. That's how you can tell somebody based their drawing off of Soul Eater. If the legs are super angular and there's not a whole lot of curving muscle, there's a decent chance that they either watch, like, Puffy Amiyumi or Soul Eater.
Team Puffy Amiyumi is just great. I am serious. No one talks about that show.
I mean, I never watched it, but, like, if you're going to... I want to be an animator. I want to know this shit. Hello. Welcome halfway through the stream. We're talking about how art is the biggest snitch known to mankind, and also opening the floor up to other questions before I go over how to draw relaxed poses. So if you guys have questions about different types of drawing and about how to draw various things, I do kind of want to push for a focus on faces and general posture above all else, simply because that's the theme of today's stream. Any art questions in general can go through Tumblr. Unless you specify, I'm going to assume art questions on Tumblr are meant for streams. So unless somebody says, you know, hey, can you just post a Tumblr tutorial on this, I'm going to save that for stream. But yeah, does anybody have other inquiries before we go over basic relaxed poses? What do you mean by that, Cyber Searcher? Character cross, like, personality? Because holy shit, I could do a whole series on personality and how you can get that to shine through. Character cross through poses. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to do y'all a little ninja lineup once my thing catches up. And we're going to go with actually a 4,000 by 2,500. We've got more of a rectangle. And we're going to talk about just character posing and showing a little bit of personality. Or if the person is shrugging or looking down. Okay, so we will talk about that. Let me write that down over here. Next. I promise that says next. Y'all get my fantastic cursive handwriting. So, you've got a lineup of characters. I don't know. Let's say they're ninja characters. And you want to do a fun lineup of them. Because, you know, fuck it, why not? And you want to be able to show a little bit of the personality in the characters. How are we going to do that? The truth is, it is very much up to the person drawing. There are a couple of key things that you can do. I know whenever I draw colon lineups, I tend to, one, the biggest thing to remember is, of course, you know, what kind of body are you going to be drawing this character with? And then I tend to cross Cole's arms a lot. Simply because crossed arms do activate, or they do flex a lot of the muscles in the upper arms. And so that tends to be an easy way to scream, this is a strong character. And that can be physically or mentally, by crossing arms. And it can have a lot of meanings. You have to combine it with some stuff. Crossing arms along with relaxed shoulders and kind of a upward facing expression, that's going to translate into strength. If you cross arms and combine that with kind of scrunched up shoulders and a downward cast face, that's not going to look strong. That's going to look timid. It's going to look, this character has something to hide. This character, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Cole tends to get crossed arms because strong, steady character. He's got both legs or both feet flat on the ground. He's not moving a whole lot. Strong, steady character. You can kind of make him into a little rectangle here. Just strong, steady. We're getting things about his character before we even know more about him. And as you get into characters, a lot of this technically goes into character design. I've mentioned character design before, how, square characters tend to be steadier, stronger, that type of thing. And just all of this has to go in together. So if you've got a character like Jay, that's maybe a little bit more active, maybe a little bit more of a people pleaser. Not to say Cole isn't a people pleaser, Jay's just so much more obvious about it. Jay's active, and he's also not as physically unmovable and strong as Cole. And so his foot's not going to be both feet on the ground. He's going to look a little bit easily pushed over, or even just more in motion. And you can kind of see there's kind of a triangle look to this, because Jay's a fast character. Triangles. And then one thing that I like to do with Kai, and you can kind of give off the impression that a character's trying to look taller than they appear if you kind of tilt their head up a little bit. Like maybe they're trying to stand on their tiptoes, but also trying not to, because that would be admitting defeat. And with characters who want to appear strong and want to give off that sense of bravado, you can kind of puff out their chests a little bit. And again, we're getting kind of a combination of stuff here with Kai, but it's still very much a triangular focus with him. The rectangle is not strong with this one. Legs and calves are actually super easy. I'm going to zoom in on Cole real quick and talk about this, because you can kind of see a little bit from the front and from the side. So I'm going to darken this color a little bit. So I break up the leg into two parts, three parts really. The upper leg, the knee, and the lower leg. Okay? So we're going to do this with both legs. And this lower leg is really, it ends at the ankle. So when looking at these parts of the leg, it can be a little overwhelming. The first thing you do, and we're going to put this in more of a dark green color, is you think of the body in terms of shapes. And we're going to go full basic, so only 2D shapes for right now. So we've got our 2D shapes. What you then do is you convert those into 3D shapes. So we take this and we go, well, okay, that's a cylinder. This is also a cylinder. And you do the same from a different angle over here. See what I mean with cylinders? Now, the tricky thing with the knee, both with drawing and in real life, so we're getting some anatomy lessons with Karina, is the knee does not like to behave. It's got this little floaty thing. It literally fucking floats. It is held in place by a bunch of little tendons and shit that go like this. But your kneecap basically floats here and protects your knees there. What that translates to, so let's recap. We've got our basic 2D skeleton and shapes. And from there, we get our basic 3D shapes. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw on top of those to get actual legs. So there is muscle here that goes into the thigh. And even from the front, this goes in a little bit. And then you can kind of look at yourself in the mirror and look at knees of like athletes. Depending on how much muscle is there, we may just see a little bit of the knee here. And then it comes back out with the calf a little bit, and then into the ankle. It's more dramatic from the side, where you can kind of see it come in from the butt into the back of the knee, and then the calf pops out here because there's a big old muscle group right here that I can never remember the name for. Mostly because I didn't screw up that muscle in high school. I knew hamstrings because everybody always talks about a pulled hamstring. It's a very common muscle to mess out. And I got shin splints in tennis. It sucked.
That doesn't sound very fun, though.
Oh, no, shin splints absolutely sucks because there's nothing you can really do about it aside from, like, take Advil and wear tall socks.
Well, tall socks are fun.
Yeah, you can get a lot of different patterns. But you can see how that process turns into actual legs that don't just look like, you know, Skinny McGee over here. Poor Jay, I just like messing with him.
It's very easy to mess with Jay.
It really is, you know? And for ease, I'm just going to change this whole layer to that, so I'm not getting distracted by that. And then Zane is very much a subdued character. He's not as loud as, say, Thing 1 and Thing 2 right here. So he would not get as big of a pose. In fact, because of his nature, you might even go with the classic little take on the butler pose, you know, with the hands behind the back.
These are so cute.
Well, like, see what I mean about how you can tell which character is which just based on body language?
Yep. Also, I know how you've drawn them before.
That's very true. It is kind of cheating if you know how I draw these characters. But.
I gotta be honest.
But you can definitely tell how, you know, different posing can get across different traits. It's just the same as, you know, we personify emotions. Well, what do I tend to do whenever I'm happy? It does kind of take a little bit of introspection. You can also just look up stock images, you know, happy person, sad person, angry person, and use those as kind of a jumping off point for, well, I want to draw somebody who is upset at XYZ and feeling ABC. Well, let me dig into my personal reference of stock photos or my personal collection of emotion studies and see if I can combine those. It really, like everything I show y'all how to do on here, comes down to being willing to put in practice. Art does not happen in a single 2-hour ramble from some random person online. It happens because you sit down and you continue to study and you continue to push yourself. Do random things. If you're sitting there thinking to yourself one day, God damn, I am so effing bored. Well, okay, go outside, be bored while drawing the trees in the park nearby. Or stare at your wall and render out the wall. Look at the wall, look at your sketchbook, get out, you know, crayons or pastels or, you know, even just a plain old pencil, draw the fucking wall. It's tedious. It may not be your favorite thing to do. It will make you a better artist in the long run. With that said, we're going to go into the last thing that I said I was going to look over, and this is going to tie in with the other Tumblr question. Next, especially somebody crouching down or shrugging or whatever, and relaxed poses. So the neck is a lying bastard because we think that it's a very long thing. I know that that shows up in my art more often than not as looking long. It's not. The neck is so fucking short. Like, it really is. It is so short. And yeah, you want to know why we think it's long. If you really want to know, well, too bad. You're going to find out anyway.
Can you confer?
No, it really is like an optical illusion wherein we think the neck is long. Because here's the thing. I tend to draw my necks really long, but it's actually like pretty short. Pretty short and pretty thick, actually, compared to what I draw them as. But if you've got, you know, a person, and they've got, you know, presumably a normal neck, this neck, this lying ass bitch, actually goes from like right here to right here. Okay? Goes from the back of the ear down to the top of the shoulder. It's not very long at all. What trips us out and what makes us think that it's long is this little muscly thing that I can't remember the name for right here. And it goes down into the collarbone and it makes the neck look longer because it's a lying bastard. And I have a personal grudge against it. I really do. So that is, you know, we're talking about the neck, like I said, goes up behind the ear and goes into the top of the shoulder right here. It goes into the trapezius. That's what that's called. From behind the ear down into the trapezius section right here, complete with these fun little lines going into the collarbone. What that means is the neck disappears very easily. It disappears so easily. If you're talking about a character who is hunching their shoulders up like they're shrugging, the neck's not actually going anywhere. It's the shoulders that are moving, the shoulders and the shoulder blades. And so the neck doesn't really disappear all that much. It just kind of turns into this little line right here, and then let the shoulders do all the work. We're going to zoom in on that a little bit so y'all can see that. Like I said, the neck is actually these lines right here. There's not a whole lot changing about that. The back of the neck still goes into the spine, which curves like that, and the front still goes into that invisible front line. That's the middle of the chest. The big thing that's going on here is the shoulders themselves are hunched up, and that's what's coming up. Now for a character that's looking down, for that, what I tend to do is I just don't really draw the neck. Foreshortening can occasionally be a blessing. If something is left out of our line of sight, there's no need to really think about it. You know, you might have, like right here, how I've drawn the side of the neck in this portion. That's fine. The neck is allowed to be hidden by the body. And a lot of times it is, because our neck is only as wide as our skull. It's not wider. So the skull can very easily hide our neck as things move around and as our perspective changes. And the last thing is relaxed poses, like a character who's not running, not doing anything, just kind of relaxed. And in that situation, your best friend is going to be a little bit of self-awareness, you know, how do you personally relax? And reference photos, as always. Along with just the idea of gravity. Learn how gravity works, how it affects things. One of my favorite things to do is to draw characters asleep, or like especially babies, like sleeping baby characters. Fucking adorable. In fact, let's no, I don't feel like doing that. I want to draw you guys an example. So
Example of what?
I don't know. Just something wherein the character is relaxing and not totally tripping out, you know? Because a lot of times, like dynamic poses, they're actiony, they're fun, they're moving somewhere. But that's not always happening. Sometimes you have to actually, you know, chill out for a minute, and that's what that last ask was about, was chill characters. Let me see the wording. Maybe that'll give me an idea.
Oh, chill. I mean, that kind of sounds like Ronan.
Yeah, let's do a relaxed Ronan. So let's just do I call a little hammock pose. And we're going to pretend that this character is in a hammock because I don't really have a ton of love energy left today. So one of the biggest things will be, pillowing one's head in one's hands like so. And not really making not really making any fast movements with the limbs. So, the feet are up, nothing's tense. Definitely doesn't look like he could run away at any given moment.
But wait, is he gonna be on a chair or like a hammock? Cause either work.
Yeah, it's just, generic chilling out pose.
I gotcha.
I'm being very, very lazy today, so I'm feeling this pose.
It's Monday. I gotcha. Wait, can you hear me pressing buttons?
On occasion, but it's not bad.
Okay. I was worried. I was like, wait a minute. This is actually kind of loud. Am I pressing them too hard?
So yeah, the biggest thing with drawing relaxed poses is relying more on curves instead of straight lines. And what I mean whenever I say that is not having the limbs be rigid. So like, yes, he's sitting here and elbows are kind of pointy, but it's very much a relaxed swoop down. The spine's relaxed, legs are propped up, arms are propped behind the head. Clearly he's not going to try and run anywhere. Clearly he's not tense. You compare that to a character that maybe got startled while in this position, and they're going to be sitting up. They're going to be looking around. Shoulders might be up. Hands are not propped behind them. They're going to be, getting up and getting ready to move. And so it really comes down to being intentional about how you draw the characters and keeping in mind like the control over one's body, I had a point with this. Where did it go? If a character is knocked out or unconscious, their limbs are going to fall where the limbs are going to fall. They're going to fall awkwardly on limbs. Limbs will not be, propped up necessarily, like, with the knee up in the air. They're more likely to be on the ground with both knees, legs kind of just, they lay where they lay type of situation. So it really depends on what's going on. A relaxed character who's just chilling out is going to put their limbs in a comfortable position. So, feet up, or feet squarely on the ground because we're sitting at the table, or we're sitting on a couch, that type of a thing. So it's not necessarily that there's this big secret between dynamic and relaxed poses. It's more just getting used to drawing poses in shorthand. Drawing more of a suggestion of a pose rather than, this is my perfectly rendered Da Vinci body that I spent 4 hours on. No, I drew a guy sitting down in about 10 to 15 seconds because I'm not caring about how perfect it is. I'm caring about getting across the feeling of the guy sitting down. And that's going to be where you're going to get the best That really is going to be how you get the best expressions and poses in general. Is stop caring about it being perfect and true to life and care more about it being about the feeling. You know, true to life involves really sucky things like skinning your knees on concrete and having to go to the bathroom. We don't care about that in cartoons unless skinning your knees has some character development behind it. We care more about the explosive emotions and the emotions on one's sleeve whenever it comes to cartoons. So, with that said, think we're going to go ahead and end it for the night. We've gone for about 2 hours, which I think we've discovered is usually my limit. If you guys ever have artsy questions, or you guys want me to go over a specific type of thing, I said, the way to do that is to go through Tumblr. Go to Rena's Ninjas and ask me a question. If it's art related, I'll assume it's for the stream. Otherwise, I mean, if you guys want me to just draw a thing, I'll probably draw